Good afternoon and welcome to Locked On NBA Daily. On today's show, LeBron James will practice for the Lakers for the first time this season, but should Lakers fans be worried about LeBron throwing off what they got going on in LA? Plus, we take a look at the coaches who might be on the hot seat and some weekend winners and losers. Let's jump in.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On NBA Daily, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network, however you might be tuning in on YouTube or on your podcast app. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. I'm Wes Goldberg. Today, we are talking about the big questions facing the Pelicans and other coaches that might be on the hot seat. Plus, we'll get to some weekend winners and losers here in a second. We're doing it with the help of Locked On's local experts. I have two of the best with me, as always, from the Locked On Nuggets podcast, senior NBA writer for the Action Network. It's Matt Moore. Matt?
I got a pack of Topps, the 2025 set, and I love that they're doing these throwback cards. I got a Bill Russell, which was awesome. But I also landed one of the worn jersey cards, which is amazing. Who did I get? Yeah, I got Scoot Henderson. So I'm going to need him to get like a lot better like now. Like I need Scoot Henderson to get like a lot better now.
From the Locked On Bulls podcast, the Bulls and Bears creator for Bleacher Report, it's Haize.
The Bears are #1 in the NFC North. That's all that matters. I'm happy.
What's football? Never liked it anyway.
2 straight wins for the Dolphins too, Haize?
2 straight.
Look at the Bears. Look at the Bears. Look at the Dolphins. Look at us.
And Dolphins honestly a little bit more legitimate than the Bears wins. So what's that?
Matt, you're not going to crap on my parade. I don't care. Like the Bears right now are finding ways to survive. We haven't survived in a while. We'll find ways to thrive, build off this season next year. Screw that. The Bears on top of the NFC North. And we have win streaks of 4 in 3 games. That's legit.
Speaking of finding ways to thrive, the Lakers without LeBron James after multiple days of practice in the G League. LeBron is going to practice with the Lakers on Monday. He's expected to make his season debut soon. That is going to bring up a lot of questions for the Lakers team that has been on a roll without LeBron. Here's more from Locked On Lakers.
Multiple reports that he'll be on the floor for the Lakers to practice on Monday. And, so this is not a surprise. But what we don't know yet, Andy, is if LeBron, and I'm sure this will come up on Monday and we'll have a little more information going into Tuesday, whether LeBron will be in the lineup Tuesday night at home against Utah. If he's not, the Lakers don't play again after Tuesday night until Sunday in Utah. So a long stretch of practice, rest available to them. So we'll find out pretty soon whether LeBron's going to play either the next game or the following, but looks pretty good that he's coming back soon.
It does look great that he could be back soon. Obviously, the team, they have succeeded without LeBron. And I was actually looking up some numbers, just trying to quantify what it means for them to be in this place. The Lakers are 10-4 this season without LeBron playing a single game.
So, Matt, how LeBron fits in to a Luka Doncic, Austin Reaves now led Lakers team has been a talking point that's been out there for a couple of weeks now. And considering LeBron's usage over his career and how he likes to play versus how this Lakers team right now is playing, probably at least a fair talking point, something worth mentioning here. But with how the Lakers have been playing without LeBron James, are you concerned at all about his fit when he returns?
A little bit. So Luka is James Harden. Like you have to understand that Luka is James Harden. And you could be like, no, James Harden sucks in the playoffs. Okay, Luka's James Harden if he were good in the playoffs. That's fine. But that's the style that he plays, right? And so they have the formula here, which is DeAndre Ayton pick and roll, Jake LaRavia as like a multifaceted wing. Austin Reaves is kind of like it's honestly, he's a little Kyrie Irving like in his role, where he's a secondary playmaker who can also score, who can also spot up. Like there's all these kind of ways. They have an archetype fit. And then there's LeBron, and he doesn't really fit into that archetype. Like you don't put LeBron on a James Harden team and have it be like perfect. It would be a little bit clunky in terms of what Harden wants to do versus what LeBron wants to do. LeBron's not going to spot up. He's not going to be a spot up weapon. He's not going to be a pick and roll power forward. So like it'll be good probably because the Lakers they're all really talented, but the fit I think is a little bit weird. Hayes,
Let me ask you this, man. I'm responding to it with this. You said he's not a pick and roll forward, but can LeBron, if need be a pick and roll forward? Can he adapt his game to be that? If LeBron wants to win, we know we've seen it. LeBron could do just about anything. It's about him locking in, especially at this stage in his career, and doing that. And I don't know if LeBron is or is willing to, but if he is, I can see LeBron adapting enough. Like this Lakers team is thriving. Sometimes as a veteran, you have to make that decision to say, okay, I don't want to disrupt. Let me find out how I can add to this. It may mean that I'm not going to get my usual numbers. I may not have my usual impact, but can I do something that can help bring a dynamic that this team is missing? I think LeBron has that ability to do it. The question is will he mentally get over there to do what he needs to do to help this team and not just make it about him? And if he is, I can see them thrive.
all right, you got teenage kids. There's stuff you can do. Do you do it if you know you can ask the boys to do it? Because I don't. I have the boy do it. That's what I do because I'm too damn old to be doing certain things. And that's how this goes. Can LeBron go out there and play pick and roll? Sure. Is LeBron at age 41 going to be like, sure, I'll set those screens?
Here's the thing. Here's the difference, though. I'm the king of my castle. LeBron isn't the king of LA anymore.
That's true. That's a good point. But I think it's still kind of hard to tell LeBron, like, hey, sorry, buddy, we're going to need you to be more of a role player. I think that's not a conversation that's going to go well.
Is there something to be said, kind of going back to Hayes' point of LeBron sort of recognizing what the Lakers are doing right now? And maybe it's not coming from that place of, hey, this team is playing really well. Let me just try to fit in rather than fit out. But we know how LeBron feels about his legacy and all of these things. If anybody is smart enough and aware enough to be like, hey, we're playing well. I can't be the guy that comes in and is just like, nope, we're not doing that anymore. It almost behooves LeBron to kind of slide into a different role. And now LeBron could do this whole thing where it's, hey, I'm two-way player LeBron. I'm selfless LeBron at age 40, whatever. And this is how I'm great now. I've been great in these other ways, and now I'm great this new way. I kind of feel like there might be a legacy play there in a weird way.
He's like a student of basketball history. The best comp to this is honestly probably Robert Parrish, who like really adapted late in his career to being like, whatever you guys need, like this is chief. And Parrish was like, whatever you guys need, I'm good. You're going to have to show me, man. This guy has directed his career more than any player in maybe all of sports history. This guy has dictated the terms in every stop he's ever been at. And you're going to have to show me that at age 41, he's given up the ghost and is willing to just be a team guy.
Hayes, I want to ask you a different question because you were sort of mentioning like him as a role player on this team. What does that look like in an optimal world? Never mind whether or not he does it or not. But if let's just put you in JJ Redick's shoes and you're pitching LeBron on the role, knowing like let's just assume that LeBron would just accept the role. What's the role specifically that you're pitching to LeBron James?
I think it's being a secondary playmaker to Luka, picking your times where you do score, because they're still going to need LeBron to be LeBron and score at times. But I think it's doing some of those role player type things, like Matt said, setting picks, making some defensive plays, even though LeBron is taking several steps back as a defender. But I think it's more of taking the wait and see approach, surveying each game and figure out what they need in that game, because LeBron can do a little bit of everything. So I think it depends on the specific matchup each and every night that his role may change. And if he embraces that, I can see that really helping him at this stage in his career.
I will end with this last season in 389 minutes of Luka without LeBron. The Los Angeles Lakers had a net rating of plus 18.2 per data baller, which excludes like garbage time, low leverage possessions. 18.2. With LeBron and Luka together, they were plus 1.9. Just something to keep in mind.
That's not as good, right?
Not as good.
Not as good.
Considerably not as good.
We just had our first coach fired of the season, but who else is on the hot seat? We're going to talk about that next here on Locked On NBA Daily. Today's episode is brought to you by Robinhood. Your ambition just met its match. With Robinhood, you play for the win, not just on game day, every day. Locking in on every opening, beating your PR, beating it again. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself, expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Basketball season is officially here, and nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real. Getting tickets can be a total headache. Between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before checkout, it's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer on your team. That's where Game Time comes in, the app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. I love that what you see is what you pay, no hidden fees at checkout. Plus, I can see exactly what my view looks like before I bought the tickets with their in-app seat view feature. Their zone deals are a game changer. You pick the section, Game Time picks your seats, and you save big. You can even find NBA tickets for under $25. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go with Game Time. Welcome back to Locked On NBA Daily. The best way to support the show is to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Follow us on your podcast app. Episodes Monday to Friday, publishing daily around 1 p.m. Eastern Time. The Pelicans over the weekend made a coaching change, firing Willie Green and promoting James Borrego to interim head coach. We did see Borrego head up the Pelicans for a game over the weekend, and Jake Madison from Locked On Pelicans can already see a difference.
This felt different. Well, yes, the result was the same here. I do think that this was a very different Pelicans team that you saw out there on the court. Frankly, the vibes were just different. You felt them compete more in this game. You know, on offense, there was, at least on offense, there was better energy, better vibes. And James Borrego made his first change. Derek Queen starting. No Kevon Looney in this game at all. And before the game, I asked James Borrego what his expectations were for this team. And he said he was focused on lifting up their spirits, lifting up their heads, finding joy in playing, having some fun in playing, and that he wasn't as worried about execution as much. This was a group that just needed a morale boost, and he wanted to try and provide that, and the goal was to kind of accomplish that. There are a lot of tweaks that you are going to see from this Pelicans team. I've talked to the coaching staff there and others around the team, and there will be bigger changes coming, but James Borrego has basically had 1.5 practices with this squad. You can't change it overnight like that, but they're starting to change what they can, starting with Derek Queen, in the starting lineups, and just kind of playing with a little bit more force. The phrase you will hear from James Borrego is speed and violence. He likes saying that here.
Haize, you've been lobbying for Derek Queen to get more playing time. James Borrego is already doing that. What did you think about that change? And then moving forward, Jake mentioned that more changes are coming. What other changes do you think have to happen in New Orleans?
I mean, a big change is just trusting the young players a little bit more. The fact that they are playing Derek Queen more and relying on him, you gave up an unprotected first for this kid. You need to see what he's going to bring, because he, by nature, is going to be a big part of your future because of what you gave up for him. And he's really thriving. That where Derek Queen has impressed me the most is actually defensively. We knew that what he can be offensively, he had all the tools in the bag. I had my questions on what he could be defensively in this league, and he's put up, I think, 3 or more games of a sub 96 defensive rating in a game, which is really good, especially considering the Pelicans aren't a great defensive team. So Queen has been really good for them. So that change is a great first step to trust Derek Queen more. I think it just has to be continued looking at what you have in Jeremiah Fears, prioritizing these guys, and eventually he's going to have to be probably trading some of your vets to recoup some draft picks and just really changing your timeline, because the timeline they're on right now, I just don't think they're going to be successful on.
I hope that someone in the organization has a little bit of vision, because there is an opportunity here to take what is a position of low leverage and make it into an opportunistic situation. What I mean by that is, if you put out that you're willing to take offers for Herb Jones, I mean, there will be an absolute mad rush. It will be Black Friday at Walmart in Alabama. Like, it will be insane. They will crush the doors trying to get in to get Herb Jones. Same thing for Trey Murphy. Don't try and leverage out of Zion. Deal with that. And if the situation comes right, if somebody calls, then sure. But these other players that you have, if they call and are like, well, your season's over, you can be like, yeah, but I got 5 other people on the line. Leverage those because you can do more with those guys. You're not going to do anything with Herb Jones over the next 2 to 3 years. He's not going to help you win games. You're not going to win games. It's over. So take your veteran guys that have value, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, maybe even Eve Misi, maybe, and start looking for opportunities to sell high on the good assets by creating a market. Because, like, you've got Fears and you've got Queen. You've got something new you can try building here, but you've got to be opportunistic and you got to let go of these ideas of these guys are too good. We can't let them go. No one's coming to your games anyway. You're not bottom in attendance, by the way. Everyone thinks that. They're not. No one's coming to your games. They're not selling tickets. There's no financial reason, and you're not winning games. Sell high on your veteran pieces, and you can actually dig yourself out of this mess pretty quickly.
Matt, when you say the veteran pieces, how far do you think they should go? So let's say Zion, DeJounte's hurt right now. Do you think Herb Jones and Trey Murphy could be on the trade block as far as to recoup some of those assets? Or with Trey Murphy being 25, would you keep him with this timeline?
I mean, look, we've got a new management group in play. What I do know is, like, they have always been so resistant to moving those guys. Like, Herb is like a guy that everyone's like, surely you'll give him up now. And they're like, nope, we're good. They really need to let go of those guys. Like, that to me is the biggest thing here, but that's going to take a direction from ownership and the people around ownership. Like, there's really interesting dynamics here with who's running the Pelicans, because yes, it's Joe Dumars, but he's in partnership with members of the Saints ownership group. Like, that entire group is what's running this. And you need to get somebody involved who's actually going to be able to make those kind of decisions. My concern is that you're going to wind up with, like, Dumars and Troy Weaver just being like, no, those guys are good. We're going to keep them because they're good. Doesn't matter, man. You are in such a bad position. You need to get drastic. Them and the Kings need to get really bold with their vision if they want to dig themselves out of this mess that they're in.
So Gail Benson, the owner of the Pelicans and also the New Orleans Saints, just recently said to a question, no, that the teams, meaning the Saints and the Pelicans, neither of those teams are for sale. So she is very much at the helm of the Pelicans, and we'll see what she wants to do, but she's insisting that she's not selling the Pelicans right now. Does that mean that she would be willing maybe to endure a little bit of a rebuild here? Certainly feels like that's maybe the only option there, because they're 2-11 right now, and it doesn't seem like the playoffs anyway are a realistic goal for them this year. But look, Willie Green, first coach fired. I don't think anybody is surprised based on the Pelicans' start to the season. But Haize, looking around the league, the next obvious question is, who's the next coach that gets fired? Because some of these teams are really bad.
Yeah, I think when you look at it, Matt hit the nail on the head. The Kings got to change something with the roster. As far as next coach that could be fired, and I don't think the roster's bad, but look at the Orlando Magic. They're going to look for a scapegoat. And I would not be surprised if he's removed by the end of the season.
If you process of elimination, it should be Kidd, but instead he's getting more power. Classic Jason Kidd. Things are terrible, but it's not my fault. You should give me more power. The Wizards are probably on this list with Brian Keefe. He was an interim guy that was given the tag, and they're just so freaking bad, which is a bummer. I will tell you, just like I pay more attention to the Wizards than anybody outside of Locked On Wizards. They are purposely doing this is the most transparent early season tank job in terms of strategy I've ever seen, where it's like they are directly leaning away from every strength that they have. So I have a hard time believing the coach is really at fault here. This feels like a more decision-driven thing with the Wizards. Pacers, obviously Rick Carlisle's fine, right? Like he's okay. There's no concern there. Jordy Fernandez, nobody's blaming Jordy for this Nets roster. You can't do that. Charles Lee with the Hornets is like an interesting one. Like it's not like they're competing. It's not like they're tough defensively. What is the thing that he has been able to make his impact on? Now, I don't blame him because he's got knuckleheads up and down that roster in key prominent leadership positions. But I do kind of think that one might get a little bit hot. But here's the big one. Tuomasi Salo I'm not saying he needs to get fired. I'm never going to say a coach needs to be fired. That's another man's livelihood. I hate everything about this man's tenure. Everything. The short stints, the offensive structure, how he's handled egos, management, starting lineup, Cedric Coward's minutes, Jaren Jackson's involvement, the vibe. I don't know what their practice habits are, but whatever they are, I hate them too. Again, I can't say that I want the man fired because I think that's unfair for me to say that, but God, I hate everything about this decision. I DM Joe Molinax, my buddy over at Locked On Grizzlies, and I said, I'm not even kidding. Let go of his solo and bring Taylor back. He's not doing anything. Admit you made a mistake and rehire Taylor Jenkins if he'll take you back.
First of all, if he'll take you back, Taylor Jenkins should have a job right now. And I think if any of these jobs that open up, like we know that the Pelicans already had who they wanted to go to, seems like they made that decision with Borrego in mind already. But whoever gets fired, Taylor Jenkins should be one of the first people interviewed. He should have a job before the end of this season to be on the NBA team.
It felt like they tried to reinvent the wheel for absolutely no reason. They had a running car, and then they were just like, nope.
If you as a fan hear that your front office is hiring the assistant coaches under the head coach and he's not getting say, you need to start sending out that is a 5-alarm fire. Head to Reddit immediately to start yelling at the top of your lungs because it's going to get bad.
The other obvious answer here, and it's just worth mentioning, although it's very complicated, is Chauncey Billups in Portland. He's obviously on leave right now. Tiago Splitter is heading up that operation right now as head coach, as sort of the interim head coach now. So we'll see what happens with Billups, but he can obviously just be out of a job for a lot of different reasons, but mostly because of the investigation and whatever happens with that. We know Nikhil Harrison was already fired, but there are more surprises at the top of the Mavericks organization that Matt was already alluding to. We'll talk about that next in our weekend winners and losers. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Daily is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than on FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who's going to score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Looking at tonight's games, Raptors 8.5-point favorites at home over the Hornets, who Matt just said, not very good at anything. Raptors are rested. They're playing well. The Hornets defense has been awful. I don't think that spread is big enough. Kind of feels like an easy one for the Raptors to cover. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Again, FanDuel is giving customers a $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up. Thanks for making Locked On NBA your first listen every day. The Locked On Podcast Network has a show for every team. Check out Locked On Lakers and Locked On Pelicans for more on today's top stories. It's Monday, so we're hitting our weekend winners and losers. Matt, why don't you start us off?
Man, so many I think to get to. This was I love the games this weekend. They were absolutely terrific.
Sunday was just every game, either overtime or big time late shot. Crazy Sunday night.
Yeah, I think one of the winners has to be the Hawks, right? Like the Hawks now, they are 8-2 without Trey Young. Get a great win versus the Suns, which that sounds surprising, but the Suns are actually really competitive. That was a close game, and they were able to close it out. Like without Trey Young, they were still able to close out a close game. I love the way this Hawks team is playing. They're getting great contributions. Jalen Johnson's been fantastic. I've been so low on the Hawks, and there is the old adage, never trust the Hawks. And I still think that's always going to be applicable. But man, I love the way this Hawks team is playing. And I honestly think that a lot of it, Wes, is when I look at the Eastern Conference right now, with the Knicks being injured and with how the Cavs are playing, like I'm not sure those two teams are in my top 3 of the best teams in the Eastern Conference right now. That's right now in this moment. That's how well the Hawks are playing, the Pistons are playing, and also the Raptors. So it's surprising to me that winners and losers, maybe the winners of the Eastern Conference here. Maybe the winner's the Eastern Conference.
No longer the Eastern Conference. Look at us.
Yeah, I mean, the East has been really good this season. Like, you have the Pistons on a 9-game win streak, the Hawks on a 5-game win streak, the Raptors on a 3-game win streak. Like, even the Boston Celtics have won 2 in a row. I just wanted to throw Corrales a bone since Corrales did the Friday show.
No, look, here's the thing.
Did the shots go in?
Under the hood, the Celtics, like, I was shocked by this. I did the top 10 teams in offense and defense schedule adjusted every weekend, and it's a small sample, right? Boston's on that list. When you go under the hood, you're like, wait, why is Boston bad? Which probably means that they're better than their record. It doesn't definitely mean that. Sometimes it's just nonsense. But, like, I think Boston might be good.
Haize, do you have a weekend winner?
A weekend winner other than my Bears? No, I'll say it got to be the Detroit Pistons. This team has been so good this season, and just to see them what they did on Friday, winning their 9th in a row, I think is when they did that Friday night. They've been great to watch. I do have a loser over the weekend for sure. That's my Chicago Bulls. God, they're the biggest losers maybe in the league right
now. What
now.
happened, man?
You know what? You know what it is? I think they believe too much in the hype. What the Bulls were doing at the beginning of seasons, they were literally outworking every opponent. This team is just it's been a calamity of errors for them down the stretches of these games that have just been ugly.
It's been rough.
Yeah.
My weekend winner is Mark Cuban.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good.
Mark Stein reported over the weekend that Dallas basically fired Nico Harrison and started making these decisions in conjunction with Mark Cuban as the decision maker. Prior to Mark Cuban, who's no longer the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, was supposed to have some sort of front office role with the team, and then just didn't anymore. And now he's kind of being brought back into the loop of his beloved franchise. After Mark Cuban spent this entire time publicly campaigning about how he would have never traded Luka Doncic, how this was crazy, and no, they didn't ask me my opinion on the matter. This was all Nico Harrison. I can't believe that he did this. Somehow worked his way back into a decision-making capacity with the Dallas Mavericks while not also having to own and run the entire organization. Mark Cuban, weekend winner. Good for him.
Yeah,
Cuban and Jason Kidd gaining power back into the Dallas Mavericks organization. Very interesting.
It's gonna be a crazy combo because it's gonna be Dennis Lindsey, who everyone knows is like gonna be the next GM, Cuban and Kidd. That's like a really bizarre kind of combo that's gonna be very interesting to kind of see how that plays out. Look, I think that there's good things and bad things about Cuban. I do think that I was shocked when Mavericks fans turned on him by the end of his tenure as owner. I was like, guys, this guy has consistently brought you out to being one of the worst franchises. Not only won you a championship, but the Mavericks were competitive for like 2 decades. Why do you want this? Like, the grass is not always greener, as it turns out. Very interested to see though, like how this goes. And it is kind of not, I personally just kind of like this for Cuban to be like, he got forced out and to be like, yeah, so maybe not do that when you don't know anything about basketball there, Patrick Dumont.
Yeah, it's a great I told you so moment.
Yes.
From Mark Cuban. Anybody else, Matt, Haize, winners, losers?
You know, I think on top of the Pistons thing, I think an interesting conversation is like the Pistons player development, right? Because Dennis Jenkins has given them absolutely insane minutes here. And like, this might be a blip, but I'm always so excited when two-way guys, when G League guys get these kind of opportunities and exceed on them. And he has been phenomenal for them. He's been so good. But you got like, look at their player development track record. Cade was always going to be amazing. Cade was #1 pick, but like Jalen Duren, Jaden Ivey, Sar Thompson, Ron Holland, like this is a great stretch that they're on in terms of player development. And these always come in bursts because people really praise the Raptors for about 5 years because it was like OG and Norm and all these guys, Pascal. And then like they went through a cold stretch. So it doesn't necessarily maintain, but I think that's interesting. The other big winner maybe over the weekend, I mean, I don't know, there's like just the weekend, but God, the Rockets, man. That was a wild comeback win versus the Magic. Şengün and KD are just absolutely burning down the house right now. They are just killing it in their minutes together. We have a conversation later this week about who the second best team in the West is because it's a legitimate question.
Yeah, Kevin Durant, hitting that 3-pointer at the end of regulation to send it to overtime. Everybody in the building knew what Kevin Durant was. He was going to dribble it up, hit that step back three, and everybody in the building knew that it was going to go in. And then Şengün with that, what was like 1.2 seconds left with that hook shot on the inbound play. Like that's become sort of a hell of a 1-2 punch there in Houston, Haize.
Yeah, it has. I mean, you guys know I was in on Houston at the start. I didn't waver even after Van Vliet went down. Houston has been really, really, really good, and I just hope that they continue to prove me right.
One more laps for Mark Cuban, Taylor Jenkins, and Haize today.
We have one more loser though, Haize.
Who's that?
It's Wes, because the NBA Cup action on Friday was phenomenal, baby. 109-108 Warriors over Spurs, an instant classic. Mavericks Clippers goes to double overtime. Phenomenal night of basketball.
It only would have happened on these weirdly colored courts playing for an abstract, meaningless NBA
You know
Cup.
what? I'm going to put in a formal request with Nick that the next time Swiper isn't able to make it, Wes has to do a Friday night game night with me, and then he has to talk about the NBA Cup games.
Let's go.
If you like what you heard today, subscribe to Locked On NBA Daily wherever you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. Thank you to Matt and Haize for their expertise every day. Thank you for making Locked On NBA Daily your first listen. We'll see you right back here tomorrow on Locked On NBA.